What's up, everybody? Welcome to the King Closers Formula. I'm RJ Bates III, and today's topic is going to be my 22 elements of productivity and how you can use those to close more deals in 2024. Now, listen, as we were preparing for today's live, I had a meeting with Nick, and Nick's been having a lot of calls with either students, people interested in coming to the Closers Formula, people that have bought some of our products that we released back on Black Friday. And he said, RJ, I keep getting questions about what does RJ's day look like? What does a day in RJ's life look like? How does he prioritize what to work on, what to ignore, things like that? And I'm not going to lie. Today was one of the most difficult live scripts, I guess you could say, preparations that I've had to do, because looking at it, some of the things that I do on a daily basis, I don't necessarily even think about because they've become habits. So I really had to kind of reverse engineer my day and think about what I ignore, what I prioritize, why I do that, to try to convey today's message to you guys so you can take it and replicate it inside of your own business, inside of your own life. Some of the things you might say, hey, man, that's pretty obvious. But as you've probably been following along for a while now, you'll realize some of the quote unquote most obvious answers are the things that I cling to, right? Like when we talk about the Closers Formula and we talk about, hey, verify that the seller wants to sell their property, ask them how much they want for it. Oh, ask open-ended questions, embrace no. These simple things are foundational elements to what makes us successful or not inside of our business. So embrace the day on what I'm giving you. I would love it if you guys would write down all 22 of these elements. I'm not going to lie. I spent a long time coming up with this because part of the answers today were not easy for me to come up with. And it's hilarious that it was so difficult because it's literally me just talking about what I do on a daily basis. So I hope you enjoy today's content. Looks like we've already got quite a few of you in here. Mr. Velasco, what's up, Eric? There's the man, Mr. Nick Robbins, who inspired today's topic. So, Nick, hope you enjoy everything that I say today. Nick also just brought up, I just want you to know how you stared at a camera for 11 minutes straight on live. I did do that. I don't know if you guys caught that or not, but the other day, how to master awkward silence. 10 minutes, 19 seconds of me staring at this webcam. And I'm not going to lie, staring at that webcam for 11 minutes, it's the first ever video that I've recorded where I got nervous. I actually got, you don't realize how much you will think about your eyelids, how often you're blinking or your eyes moving. Did you just move your lips? Why? Swallowing. I mean, there were so many different things I thought about during those 10 minutes and 19 seconds. Go back and watch that video. It was a lot of fun. What's up, Mr. Provence? What's up, Patrick? What's up, Mr. Blaine? Shout out to Cassie in Michigan. Cassie is a huge Michigan Wolverines fan. Go Blue. Won the national championship last night. If it couldn't be my Texas Longhorns, I wanted to be the Michigan Wolverines. So congratulations to Michigan and also to Miss Cassandra. All right, let's get into this, right? Let's get into my 22 elements of productivity. Now, before we break down the 22 elements, I want to break down and make you understand where we are in this process, okay? Because everything steers back to the 6 foundational elements of our business, right? What are those? 1, Hedgehog concept right behind here, right here. Mr. Hedgehog, always looking over my shoulder. The Hedgehog concept. So under this, we already understand what our Hedgehog concept is. Mine, I'm a nationwide virtual wholesaler. That is what Titanium Investments does, right? And then on the education business, we want to be the best virtual wholesaling education company in existence. Those are our Hedgehog concepts, okay? Then two, we talked about stop searching for unicorns. So last week's video, where we talked about which ships will you be sailing in 2024, that broke that down for you, okay? If you haven't gotten the Titanium Fleet, please do. It's in the description of this. Just click on it. You'll see a link. Click on the Titanium Fleet. You don't have to search for unicorns anymore. There are the systems that we use. What is foundational element number 3? Number 3 is focus your habits. Okay, so focus your habits. You're going to see that over the next month. Tomorrow, 2:22 p.m., we're going live with PropStream. That is where we are going to teach you a habit on how to use, a process on how to use PropStream. On Friday, we're going to have a live with Easy REI Closings. That will be us teaching you a habit, a process on transaction coordination. And we will continue to have those lives. You'll see them more and more. Every single one of the members of the Titanium Fleet will be coming into the community at least once a month to teach you those habits. So today, what we're talking about is foundational element number 4. How are you consistent as a tree? Well, here it is. It's 22 different ways that I am consistent as a tree. So these are the 22 elements, which, by the way, if you didn't know, titanium is the 22nd element. I had to pick a number, so it was 22, baby. It's probably going to be one of the largest numbers we give on one of the lives. But here's my 22 elements. Element number 1, sleep is imperative, okay? You cannot function at a high level if you're not getting enough sleep. And for me personally, it's somewhere in the range of 7 to 8 hours. Now, I am very in tune with my body. I listen to my body and what it needs. So I'm not necessarily big on going to sleep at the exact same time, although I am imperative on the fact that I'm at minimum going to get 7 hours of sleep. Now, we're about to talk about the wake up time, so that does set a guideline on when I'm going to go to sleep. You need to make sure you're getting a good night's sleep. Make sure you're tracking how much sleep you're getting and if you're getting good sleep. So I have made moves on my side, right? Like making sure that the room is pitch black, making sure that there's no light coming in, making sure that I'm comfortable when I'm going to sleep, and making sure that I get enough. So foundational element number 1 is sleep is imperative. Make sure that you're doing that. I'm not one of those entrepreneurs that's like, hey, you need to be waking up at 4 a.m. and doing all of this before your competition wakes up. No, I am about my energy. I am about making sure that when I come here, I'm not thinking about, man, I'm tired. I wish I could go get some sleep. I need to take a nap or anything like that. I want to make sure that when I am here, I am energetic, I'm excited about the day, and I feel rested. So sleep is imperative. Element number 2, wake up at the same time every morning. Okay. So this is where I don't necessarily have a quote unquote time that I go to sleep, but there is a time block in which I have to go to sleep because I'm waking up at the same time every single morning. Now, inside of these elements, there's always going to be moments where you have to pivot a little bit, right? If my son has a hockey game at 6 a.m. and I'm having to wake up at 4 a.m., obviously I'm not waking up at 4 a.m. every day. Okay. That's just not happening. I wake up at 6:30 every single day. That is what time my alarm is set for. I don't have to think about it. It's what time it's set. Some things will pivot that, and I'll bump it up to 6 o'clock, and I just make a 30-minute adjustment to that. But more often than not, my day starts at 6:30 in the morning. That is when I want my day to start. That allows me to have enough family time. It allows me to decompress at the end of the day where I don't feel like I'm not getting enough decompression time. I'm rested. and then I'm able to get somewhere between 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Okay. So those are the first two elements. Element number 3, create a morning routine. Okay. A morning routine for me is based around all of the little things that I do to get ready, right? When I shower, what I'm doing when I get out. I mean, so much so that the habit has been built that I do it in the same order. Like when I get out of the shower, I'm brushing my teeth, put my contacts on. Then yes, I have to blow dry the beard. Okay. Blow dry the beard, put on the deodorant, put on the lotion, do all the different things in a specific order. Then once I leave the bathroom, I'm going to do breakfast, get some water. I'm taking my medicine. There is a routine in which I'm doing things. So much so hey, this is when I'm telling the kids goodbye for the day. Once I get in the car, hey, I am always going to be listening to music on the way from the house to the office. I love music. It energizes me. It gets me excited. So that is one of my morning routines. I love my 8-minute drive from the house to the office, rock out to a couple of tunes. This is part of my routine. You need to have some sort of routine, whatever it is. If you want to add working out in there, cooking yourself breakfast, meditation, whatever it is, make sure you have some sort of routine before your day begins. Okay. So that is foundational element number 3. Oh, wait. This is someone asked what kind of music. I listen to rock music mainly. Now I will say, I think in my Spotify rap said I listened to like 119 different genres in 2023. Okay. But mainly rock and heavy metal. Nick says sleep is literally the biggest hack in life. It's true. I see Brian on here. He's laughing about 8 hours. Listen, this is coming from someone that is running multiple high-level businesses as well as having a couple of kids. It's possible. You can do it. All right. Let's see. Look, here's the difference. Nick's part of that 4 a.m. club. I'm not. That is not where I don't succeed when I do that. It makes me feel tired. It makes me feel out of whack. I don't enjoy that. Okay. So element number 4, give yourself options for flexibility within your morning routine. Okay. So what I mean by this is I always love to live with some sort of distraction going on. So when I'm not live on YouTube, there's always music playing. Okay. There's always YouTube videos playing. I am okay with that. It allows me to really ignore distractions because I always live around distractions. Okay. So when I take a shower, I will either have an Audible book playing, I will have Spotify playing music, or I will be listening to a podcast. I will say I don't listen to too many podcasts because I try not to consume too much of other people's content. So Audible or Spotify. I give myself the flexibility that based off of how I'm feeling in the morning, if I need like a pick me up, I need energy, I need some music. Okay. I want to be able to listen to that music while I'm taking a shower. I'm not going to be like, well, part of my morning routine is I listen to a book in the morning. I got to listen to Traction. Sometimes I don't want to listen to Gino Wickman talk about being a visionary and I need to have an integrator. Okay. That can be deflating to you. So I have flexibility inside of that morning routine where I can pivot and I can say, no, I don't want to do this. Same thing with breakfast. Hey, this is what I'm going to eat for breakfast. But if I wake up and that does not feel good to me, I am going to make a pivot from that. I allow myself a little bit of flexibility inside of that morning routine. The reason why is you're going to see as I move on in the day, I kind of have some non-negotiables about where I don't allow any flexibility. Okay. So element number 5, plan your day and time blocks. I think this is one of the things that most people struggle with. I actually have it broken down in my calendar where it's like, hey, I got an hour time block for a Zoom meeting. I've got an hour time block for a podcast. And then, hey, I've got a 3-hour time block for I'm going to be talking to sellers. I'm going to be talking to affiliate partners like Lead Zolo, Speed Lead, whatever about their products. This is where I have the ability to talk to either, partners like Nick and Sima, Cassie, talk to, Steve Trains and Chris Jeffersons and things like that about how we can grow our business. There are time blocks set out for that. And this is one of the non-negotiables for me, is that when I have those time blocks, it is set aside that is what I'm going to do. And I don't care if the phone call comes in, the text message comes in, I have to ignore those because that time is set aside for something specific. So every day, my day is time blocked out for specific times. And then I have to hold myself accountable to achieve the task inside of that time block. And someone commented on here, my annoying ass in DM. Yeah, I mean, I don't know who you are because it says Facebook user on here, but you're right. I do have to ignore my DMs sometimes and say, I'm sorry, I can't get to that right now because that's not what I'm focused on. I will set aside time to say, hey, here's where I'm going to go to my text messages, and I'm going to respond to all my text messages. I'm going to go to my DMs and respond to everybody there. Or sometimes I have to delegate it out to someone else. Someone earlier today who came to the First Closers Formula said, hey, I'm having problems with disposing a property. Can you help me with that? Well, I want to help them, right? They invested $5,000 in our education. They're succeeding by getting properties under contract, but now they're having problems with dispositions. We want to help to make sure that you succeed, but I had to delegate that out and say, hey, I can't support that because I don't have any time today, but maybe Cassie does. So, hey, can I delegate this out to Cassie? Can she review that deal and maybe help you with whatever you need help with on dispositions? Okay. That all goes back to the fact that I'm planning my day out in blocks. All right. Element number 6. Now, just so you guys know, I tried to put these in somewhat of an order as best as possible for you, but it doesn't necessarily have to flow from like 1 to 22. Okay. I tried, but it's not necessarily the case. So you're planning your day in time blocks. Element number 6, schedule the not fun stuff first. For example, things that are not fun for me, the cash flow report, Zoom calls, meetings. These are energy draining moments for me. Okay. Now, I don't like doing the cash flow report. And what I mean by the cash flow report is my bookkeeper takes all of the bills and enters it into an Excel spreadsheet. And it says, this is how much money is in the bank account. This is how much we owe on all of our bills, payroll, credit cards, vendors, every single payment that goes out. This is what we owe for the next 7 days. And then I need to go through and I say, yep, pay that, pay that. No, we ain't paying that one. And then it tells me how much money I have remaining if we do all of these things. I do that every single Friday right after lunch. So I get myself in a good mood. I eat lunch, and then I do the cash flow report. Okay. These things are energy draining things, but they're mandatory. And the reason why you schedule these first is because if you don't schedule the not fun stuff first, it's probably not going to take place. It'll just be forgotten about. You'll just continue to push it down no, I don't want to do that. I want to do the fun thing. I want to do the live with the people and help them. I don't want to do the cash flow. I don't want to do that Zoom call about that new thing that we need to do or talk about, hey, Titanium University and building out the modules and RJ, we need you to verify the marketing plan for this. I don't want to do that. That's why I have you guys. It sucks being CEO and boss man sometimes, but you have to schedule the not fun stuff. Okay. So I do that first. All right. Element number 7, schedule time for nothing. Give yourself some grace where you say, hey, from 1:30 to 2, there is nothing scheduled. I am not required to take action nonstop. What I do during these times, and I think these are some of the most important things that I do, is when I have nothing scheduled. This is where I have self-talk. This is where I think. I sit down and I actually think about what's taking place. What do I want to take place? Should we be pivoting from what we're doing right now? Should I be pivoting on some of my actions that I'm taking, on my responsibilities? And then I also utilize this time for nothing to decompress. Okay. Sometimes you can put your schedule so action packed where it's like, bro, where are you decompressing? You cannot just go nonstop 24/7. Every now and then you need to slow down and just sit here. Think about what has happened. So let's go back to the 50-day challenge where I was, quote unquote, an acquisitions manager, maybe where some of you are currently living inside of your business, where you still have to talk to sellers every single day. You're the marketing guy, you're the acquisitions guy, you're the TC, you're the dispo, right? You need to give yourself some grace and say, all right, I am going to hit the phones from 10 to 2. There's a time block. But from 12 or 10 to 12, that's my time block. It's a 2-hour time block. But from 12 to 12:30, I've got nothing. Okay? That's where, if I want to eat lunch, I can eat lunch. Use the restroom. If I want to place a phone call to a friend or a family member, I can do that. If I just want to sit here and stare at the wall, that's okay. Because I know what I'm doing with my day. I've got it scheduled out. And I know why I'm going to be doing that. We're going to get to that in a second. But make sure you're scheduling nothing for yourself. It's important. It's important that you have the ability to talk to yourself. It's important that you have the ability to think. Sometimes we just overlook that. Okay? That's one of the most pivotal and most important elements of this all. Element number 7, schedule time for nothing. Number 8, create daily goals, not long-term goals. And make sure the goals have a purpose. Okay? So what I mean by this is sexy title, 50 deals, 50 states, 50 days. That's a long-term goal. Internally, that was not my goal. That was the sexy clickbait goal that I gave you. Internally, my goal was I want to get a contract every single day. And every single day, I want to get a contract in a new state. I broke that down. Then as we started gaining KPIs and we did it the second time, it became my goal is to send out 3 contracts and get 2.5 of those signed a day. Because if I'm doing that, I'm achieving my KPIs that I've established for myself. Can I become machine-like where I am consistently hitting these goals? So I'm not sitting there and I'm saying, dude, in 2024, I want to go make $10 million this year. No, reverse engineer that all the way down. How much do you need to make a day to make $10 million in a year? That is the type of goal that I want you to set for yourself, where you're reverse engineering it. Someone asked today, how many dials should I be making in a day? I said, I invited them to come watch this. I hope you're watching this. So if you are, say something in the comments. What I said is, shouldn't be about how many dials you're making in a day. That's a vanity metric. It's a pure vanity metric. It's a guru metric to sell you education and say, this is how many dials you should be making a day. No, you should be saying, I'm dedicating 8 hours to calling today, and have enough self-accountability that the entire 8 hours, you're picking up the phone and you're calling. Not that for 4 hours, you're dicking around on Facebook or Instagram and you're only dialing for 4 hours. Because the reality of it is if I say I need to place 200 dials in a day, I'm not taking into consideration what about the call that I place to the seller that's highly motivated in Fitchburg, Massachusetts, where we make a $25,000 assignment, but it takes me 2 hours to close the deal. Who cares about how many dials you're making? We can reverse engineer this all the way back to, hey, is our lead gen working? How many contracts are we getting from the amount of leads that we're getting and all of this? But when it comes to dials, I hate that KPI more than anything, because it should be about the time that you're investing on calling sellers. That is a goal that you should set for yourself. That is a metric that you can control for yourself. You cannot control how many dials you place in a day. You cannot. Are you going to talk to the tired landlord that you can close in 5.5 minutes? Or are you going to talk to the highly emotional wife who lost her husband that needs to talk to you for 2 hours? That's why you create those daily goals that are controllable. Make sure the goals have a purpose. Don't just set random goals because you heard somebody talking about it. Okay, number 9, have an environment created for comfort and success. This is one thing that you can do, plug, and then now you're able to play. So this is one of the easiest elements I think that exists in this list. Okay, for me, you guys see my element. Okay, what you don't know is that my desk sits right outside of a little cubby. Okay, so what you guys see behind me is a little cubby, and I sit right outside it, and then I've got a full office here. And I'm here by myself. Okay, but my desk is set up. I've got my 4 monitors. I've got my lights. I've got my webcam. I've got my drawers with my files, the checks, my pens, my highlighters, my paper, my notepads that I always have with me, right? I've got my little cell phone stand. I've got my little phone charger. I've got my phone, right? I've got my gratitude book. I've got all the different things that I need. And this is my environment. It is exactly the way that I want it today. Now, we are going to be making some changes to it because I'm ready to make some changes to it. But I am comfortable here. When I need to work, I want to be right here in my environment. My environment goes even further to the fact that I refuse to get an office with 4 white walls surrounded by other people working on the other side of the wall. That is why our office is on a lake. It is above a restaurant. My balcony, I can see the lake right here. I am at peace here. This is where I come to do what I do to support my family, to support my dreams, and to support my team. So my environment is so important to me because this is where I'm comfortable and it's where I want to be every single day. Make sure you have some sort of environment that you feel the same way. Bashan says, what if you don't have 8 hours to dedicate? Would 2 or 4 be sufficient? Absolutely. But just make sure that you are dedicating that. I'm not saying you have to dedicate 8 hours. I dedicate a lot more than 8 hours. But only you know what you could dedicate. But make sure when you're doing that, that you are time blocking it out, that your day is scheduled out in blocks, that you're allowing yourself to schedule time for nothing inside of those 2 to 4 hours to make decisions, to think about what you're doing. Now, if you only have 2 to 4 hours, you're going to have to make those shorter time blocks, but you can absolutely do it with less than 8 hours. All right. Number 10, be on time. Oh my goodness. You want to talk about something that just drives me crazy? Is people that are regularly late, but then talk about having this huge desire to be successful. Bro, you're so full of shit. Like, hold yourself accountable. Be on time for everything. It's not that hard. It's one of the easiest things in the world to do. I will be there at 8 a.m. Be there at 8 a.m. I'm going to go live every single Tuesday at 2:22 p.m. Then be sitting your ass at your desk at 2:21 p.m. And when it turns 2:22, hit go live. It's super easy. But guess what? The majority of people suck at this. So how do you differentiate yourself from everyone else? Well, just do the easy things that they can't do because they suck. Be on time. That's it. Have some respect for yourself, for your time, because guess what? It's very, very annoying when other people don't show up and respect your time. It should be annoying to yourself if you don't respect yourself enough to show up on time. So be on time. Super easy. Again, like I said, some of these just obvious. It's usually the obvious ones that people suck at. Number 11, prepare to succeed. Preparation should be where you gain confidence in the actions you're going to take. Every single one of these lives, I take more time to prepare for the live than I actually do giving the live. Every time you see me go live, you see me talk to sellers, all these different things, there's so much preparation that goes on before that moment, right? That's why I talk about embracing moments, because I'm prepared for those moments. So, for example, when I talk about talking to sellers, okay, I've got my CRM ready. I've got Investor Lift ready. I've got all my comping systems ready. I've got my contract open. I've got Dropbox sign open and ready for me to drop. I am prepared to succeed. I talked about this on every single Closers Olympics qualifying round. There were 6 of them, and the Closers Olympics, where I said, hey guys, I understand the majority of y'all have not done the Closers Olympics as many times as I have, but here are some things that you need to be prepared for. Prepare for being live. You're going to chew up an entire monitor just with the live stream. Prepare yourself to have contracts ready to be written. Prepare yourself to be able to comp the property yourself. Prepare yourself for all of these moments. Very few of them listen, and then they don't succeed. And I'm like, well, it's because you weren't prepared to succeed. You just hoped that you stumbled and bumbled around and success slapped you in the face. It just doesn't work that way. I sit here and I go live every single Tuesday with you guys, and I take a great amount of time preparing myself to be able to give you what you want from these lives. I sit down and I think about what is the things that we do that allow us to close more deals than the vast majority of people. And so you can then take that and replicate that. And I think about it. Preparation, I guarantee, is one of the things that separates us from the majority of people. Do you know how many times I've talked to people where they were like, hey, let's do a live together. What would you like to talk about on the live? I don't know. We'll just figure it out. Just what we do. No, I don't know what you're talking about. We need to prepare to make sure that the people that right now, we've got over 50 people that have taken time out of their life to listen to what I have to say. I better be prepared to make sure that I am giving you something that you can take back and utilize in your life. That is how you should take every single circumstance in your life. Be prepared to succeed. Number 12. Obsessively talk about your goals and the actions that you take for those goals with excitement. Obsessively talk about it. Case in point, I want to win Closers Olympics. I talk about it all the time. Told my whole team, I'm going to win Closers Olympics. This is what's going to happen during Closers Olympics. I promise you. Watch what's going to happen. I talked about, hey, guys, last March, all right, I got slacked off. 7 months, I did not do a titaniumvault podcast. 7 months. Last March, I said, hey, guys, I'm going to get back into the podcast. every single Wednesday. Titanium Vault episode is going to go out at 8 a.m. every single Wednesday since then. I talked about it. This is my goal. These are the actions I'm taking. Hey, guys, just interviewed Trevor Mock. Hey, guys, just interviewed Cole Taylor. This is what the podcast is about. Dude, I did this episode with Brad Chandler where we talked about self-love. It was sick. Like, you guys got to check it out. I talked about it. Hey, guys, every Tuesday, we're going to go live at 2 p.m. I bring it up with you guys. I talk about it. I want to get 50 deals in 50 states in 50 days. I talk about it. I obsess about it with family, friends, employees. It doesn't matter. Now let everybody know. And here's the thing. I don't wait to hear what they have to say about it because honestly, I don't expect them to understand what I'm saying. In fact, I expect them to be like, that's insane, dude. What are you talking about? 50 deals in 50 states. I got a new goal. I said I wasn't going to say it to many people, but I already said it to Jamie, said it to my team. I said it to Nick and Sima. I said it to Cassie. So I'll say it to you guys. I got a goal this year that every single day there will be a long-form video released on my YouTube channel. At minimum, one long-form video, as well as 3 shorts on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok every single day. 365 days. I've got that goal. I'm going to talk about it. I'm obsessed about it. It's what I want to do. Everyone's going to hear it. And I don't give a shit. Why? Because I'm obsessed over me hitting my goals and the actions that I'm taking to get there. Because I felt it was important to do it. So I don't listen to anything else other than, hey, this is what I'm doing. I'm chugging along, baby. Every day. Yesterday, I was like, baby, got that out. 8 days in. Love it. Be obsessed about it. Number 13. One of the more important ones, specifically for those of you that are inside of your business still, where you're having to take those every single action in your business, the solopreneurs, okay? Number 13, high intensity spurts of action. This is kind of like those high intensity sprints, but this is high intensity spurts of action. So, for example, when I was doing the 50-day challenge and I was the glorified acquisitions manager, I would go live at 10 a.m. every single day. From 10 a.m. to 12 p.m., I'm calling high intensity. Everything around me is ignored. There is no Facebook. There is no TikTok. There is no Instagram. There is no emails. I am talking to sellers, and it is high intensity. Dial after dial after dial after dial. This is why I say it doesn't matter how many dials you make. But for those 2-hour stretch, baby, I am nonstop. There is nothing that can stop me. High intensity spurts where you just sprint, baby, for 2 hours. And then you're going to follow that with high intensity decompression sessions. Okay? So element number 14, high intensity decompress sessions. So I go 2 hours hard on the phones. Boom, boom, boom. Whatever happens. It's all about whatever I'm doing for those 2 hours. And then right after that, there's going to be a decompression time block. Hey, for 30 minutes, I'm not going to talk to any sellers. Okay? I'm out. I got to go pee. I got to eat. I got to get a drink. I got to walk around. I got to stretch, right? Laugh, joke, tell a story, decompress. And then follow that back up. We're right back into it. High intensity on whatever it is set for that time block. But it's high intensity spurts of action followed by high intensity decompression sessions. And the kind of the model that I used is whatever the high intensity is, about a quarter of that should be decompression. So if I go for 2 hours, then I'm going to go about 30 minutes of decompression to then go another 2 hours and then 30 minutes to decompress and then another 2 hours. Okay. This is how you are consistently able to generate results and consistently be able to take action, because it's not just about, oh, dude, I'm going to go dial for 8 hours. No, you're not. You're not human. You don't have to walk. You don't have to pee. You don't have to eat. Like, no, you got to do these things. You want to enjoy life, right? I say become a machine, but you're not actually a machine. You can't actually become a robot. So you have to be able to decompress. This is how then when you dive back in, baby, it's like, hey, everyone in the world knows, don't bother me, because right now, for the next 2 hours, baby, it's high intensity. I got to go get contracts, and there ain't nothing else more important. Okay? Now, you hear me talk a little bit about the social media, but this is where during these high-intensity sessions, you have got to find a way to say no to the distractions like social media, other people, text messages, emails. Fuck them all, baby. I'm in my high-intensity spurt right now. Okay? Number 15. Number 15. Machine-like habits on what works. So as you start taking these high-intensity actions, right? Like, okay, high-intensity spurt. I'm going to do acquisitions for the next 2 hours. This is how the closer's formula came about. When something worked, I then became machine-like with it, where I just repeated it over and over and over again. Hey, I said this to a seller and it worked. I am going to replicate that over and over and over again. I've always said one of my superpowers is if I do something once, I become the expert in it. You need to be able to do the same thing. Machine-like habits. As soon as you feel like, boom, what I just said there worked. That action I just took worked. Replicate it over and over and over again. If you could do it 10 times in a row and it continues to work, now you're on to something. Now it should be like you don't even have to think about it. It's just who you are and what you do during those high intensity actions. Okay. Number 16, self-accountability to ignore everything. Self-accountability. So it was interesting when I was kind of consulting the team about some of the things that they do to make sure they're productive throughout the day. There were several mentions of like outside resources that help them stay accountable. Those might work, but I'm going to be honest with you. I am very much a believer in you need to find a way inside to have your purpose be enough for you to hold yourself accountable to your time blocks, to your dedication for what you're going to do. I don't need an app to tell me that. Okay? I don't need to put my phone on airplane mode to be able to ignore my phone. Since I've been on this live for 43 minutes and 30 seconds, let's see. I've gotten 4 text messages, a WhatsApp message, a comment on TikTok, a message in the band app, an Instagram DM, a YouTube notification, 17 emails to 1 email, a notification on my phone about Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin treated for prostate cancer. I got a phone call. I got 2 likes on my story on Instagram. I got an email from my TC, and then I got a notification that I'm supposed to go live on Facebook. I'm ignoring it. I'm accountable to this. I'm doing this live. That I don't need something to tell me to not look at that. I'm accountable to myself to say, I'm going to ignore that. I don't need to look at it. I'm the same way if this camera is not on and I'm talking to sellers. I'm the same way if I'm on this and I'm on a Zoom call with Nick and Sima talking about how we can create Titanium University for you guys. Because I am self-accountable to ignore all of the outside noise. You've got to find a way to do that yourself. Number 17. Oh, I love this one. Oh, man, I love it. We know we're getting somewhere, so I'm starting to sweat, baby. If you're enjoying this, drop an emoji in the chat. Come on. You guys are being quiet. Let's go. 17. Embrace chaos for the right reasons. Oh, man. Listen, if you are a true visionary, a true CEO for your company, okay, you are going to be a chaos creator. That is what we do by nature. We create chaos inside of our businesses. You need to embrace the chaos when it exists for the right reasons. Case in point. Hey, boys, I'm going to do 50 deals in 50 states 2.0. It's happening. Whoa, what? When? Next week. All right. Start going live. We came out of the gates like a rocket ship. Contract, sign contract, sign contract, sign contract. Boom, baby. I was creating massive chaos. As the leader of my organization, even if I was by myself, if I did not embrace that chaos, we wouldn't have ended up with the results that we ended up with. I had to sit there and say, it's all right. We are going to figure this out. And here's how we're going to figure it out. Let's embrace what we've been in. The opportunity. That's the key word that I always use when I go out and create a shit ton of chaos. Look at the opportunity we have in front of us. Yeah, maybe we got to buckle down. Maybe we got to add an extra hour to our day. Maybe it's 2 hours. Maybe we've got to add an extra person. But the opportunity that exists in front of us is what we ask for. There's someone else out there begging for the opportunity in front of you today because of the chaos that we have created. Let's embrace it. Let's not get lost in it. Let's embrace it. Let's figure out how we're going to solve this problem that we created for ourselves, because more often than not, those problems are great stories and great results at the end of the day. Embrace that chaos, baby. It's part of the journey. 18, track your results. Tracking results is a funny thing. Because when you're tracking results, it's like, when is the right time when I track these results to determine if something is working or not working? I always go back to the example because it's such a hot topic right now. You know, Lead Zolo comes out on Black Friday and New Year's Day, and they're like, hey, man, if you spit on a shiny penny, we'll give you a lead in the middle of nowhere. And everyone's like, cool. Here's $1,000. You know, they buy 20 leads. They get 10. And they're like, man, I spit on a shiny penny. And I got a lead in the middle of bumfuck nowhere, Mississippi. And it sucks. Is that long enough to have tracked your results to determine if something is working or not? Tracking results is funny because it's what we talked about last week, with making sure that when you are making a commitment, you are getting in a boat and you're going out in the middle of the ocean. You better know where the end destination is for you to understand when you're going to track the results. Case in point, I said it. Hey, if you're going to do any form of marketing, you better dedicate a minimum of 90 days to it. You better dedicate a certain amount of budget to it. You better have done the first 17 steps of this where you're actually committing to it and you're taking action to be able to track those results. Throughout it, though, you need to understand what is happening, right? Like during my 50-day challenge, I did not like the results of cold calling. I didn't stop cold calling after it. We made pivots. We made changes to the cold calling. We didn't abandon ship. Okay? The reason why you track results should not necessarily be to change the path, the course. It should be to figure out what you can do to maintain being on the course that you set out for yourself. There's a reason why you go buy leads from Lead Zolo. You see someone succeeding with it. Maybe it's me. And you say, hey, I want to replicate that for myself. Don't get 10 lead Zolo leads and it not work for you and then abandon ship. Cold calling, it works. Direct mail, it works. We're going to break those down inside the community for you guys so we show you how those things work. If it doesn't start working out right out of the gates, the reason why you should be tracking those results is to figure out why it's not. And then how you can make small pivots. Oh, look at that. Element number 19. Pivot in small increments. Number 19. Pivot in small increments. This is about slowing down, not making emotional, rash decisions. And when something is not working, instead of going all the way over here, because then you don't know why the results change if you make a huge pivot. It should be a small little pivot. Boop. Okay? For example, I'll use my YouTube channel. I was doing podcasts where I was interviewing people. People seem to like that. We got consistent results with it. This is how many viewers we got on YouTube. This is how many downloads we get on Spotify and Apple. Pretty consistent with it. And then it wasn't that I was tracking the results and, they weren't there. It was that personally I wanted to do something different. And it was somewhat of a passion project for myself. So I decided, mainly because I read 2 books and I just wanted to do a book review series on it. So I read the book, The Dynasty, about the New England Patriots dynasty. And then I read a book called The World of Wonders. And I did a book review video. And I released it. And it fell flat. Like you guys didn't like it. Or you just, I don't know. Honestly, no one watched it. I mean, I think it has like 100 views. No one listened on Spotify and Apple. It fell flat. And I was like, well, maybe it's because it's new, right? We need to be consistent. So I did another book review. I did it over, I believe, Profit First and Never Split the Difference, right? And it did even worse. I don't even think 100 people watched on YouTube. They were like, hey, RJ, we really don't give a shit about listening to you review books. And then I did a third one. And it did even worse. And so the pivot in small increments wasn't, man, people really like to hear me interview people, but they really don't like to hear me talk about or just talk by myself. It was just, you guys didn't want to hear book reviews. It just didn't resonate with you guys. Or maybe the messaging, or maybe it was whatever it was. It wasn't working. So the small pivot I took was, instead of doing book reviews, I started doing solo podcasts where it was just me talking about a topic. And those flew off the hinge. You guys loved them. Man, love hearing this kind of topics from you, RJ. Thank you so much. It was a small pivot. You should do the same thing inside of your business. Small pivots in small increments. Don't panic and make huge adjustments. Number 20. One of the most important things that you can do daily is express gratitude. Expressing gratitude brings so much joy to your life. First and foremost, it's great to recognize people and tell them how much you appreciate them for either something that they did, they do, who they are. It also allows you to take the time to think about someone besides yourself. So, the gift that was given to me for Christmas was my gratitude journal, where every day I can go in and write the date and talk about what I'm grateful for today, right? And it's been so rewarding to be able to go in here and just think about the things that I'm grateful for every single day. But what I've noticed is that as I'm doing that, I become so much more grateful across the board, where I recognize some of you guys here on this live. And I now look at you with such gratitude, where someone like Robert Nipper coming in and making himself vulnerable, I'm getting better at that word, to come on the live and share some of his live calls, right? Seeing people like, Patrick come in the group and talk about how he wants to be a case study for titanium and what we're doing on the education space, and him talking about, hey, I will record my calls and post them in the group because of what Robert did. Because RJ, you give back to the community so much. I'd love to be able to offer that. I find myself grateful for the people that show up for Titanium Investments every single day and having those conversations with them, talking about how much I appreciate them being along for the journey for years and seeing where we're headed. It's such a rewarding experience. Take time every single day to show gratitude. And what you will see in return is that people will then start looking at you in gratitude and sharing their gratitude with the actions that you take. Look at that. Robert says, sending out my first accepted offer today. Congratulations, Robert, man. That is amazing. I am so proud of you. And I can't wait for you to be here on the 18th and 19th. Everyone drop a congrats to Robert in the chat, man. That's awesome. All right. We got two more left. Two more. Say no unapologetically. Oh, kind of a weird one to follow gratitude, but man, saying no, embracing no, is one of the core elements of the closer's formula. It is also one of the most important aspects of being productive and staying focused and being consistent as a tree. Say no. There's so many different things that we surround ourselves with. If you are fully embracing what we do here at Titanium, you know that is surrounding yourself as a fortress to be able to say no to things. Hedgehog concept. If it doesn't fit inside my hedgehog concept, I can say no. Boom. Okay? We are the buyer. They are the seller. They don't want to sell, we're out. Price is not right. There's not motivation, we're out. We're always embracing no inside the closer's formula. Inside of your consistent as a tree, the 22 elements of productivity, you should be able to say no repeatedly to so many outside distractions. I say no to social media. I say no to that text message. I say no to that Instagram DM, that Facebook DM, that TikTok DM, that email, that phone call. Sometimes it hurts. I had to prepare for today's live. Pat Hilton called me 4 times today. He had something important to tell me. I ignored the first 3 calls. I had to say no. It actually hurt me a little bit because it was like, dude, what if he needs me? But I was accountable to myself and to you guys that I was going to show up fully prepared for this, to say, what are RJ's 22 elements to being productive every single day? What do I do that I think is different than what most people do? And one of those things is I can say no unapologetically. Not right now. I'll get there, but it ain't happening right now. You've got to find a way to do that. I do it to my team. I do it to Cassie. I do it to people on my family. I have to be able to achieve the goals that I set for myself, to fulfill those and support my family, my team, my obligations, learn how to say no unapologetically. And the last one, never panic. Never panic. Like, I don't know if this is something that can be replicated by someone else. I hope it is. I'm going to try to explain it. There are moments that I have had in my life where I had every reason to panic. 2018, 2019, us losing our ass on properties, not having enough money to support some of those properties, calling private money lenders to let them know that we've lost their money. Moments where I got robbed at knife point, where I literally had a knife pressed against my throat. And when I look back at some of these moments where it's like, business related, where it's like most people could have let the stress get to them, where it would shut them down. Moments that some people would have PTSD and they would not be able to function normal after some of the stressful things that have happened in my life. Never panic. Because the panic's not going to help you. Okay? My thing is, Daniel, I'll go over 1 through 6 here in a second. I'll repeat them. The thing is that is the panic will force you into excuse plus a story. If you don't panic, that's where you can slow down and you can say, this is the reason why something happened. Talk to yourself, think, and then come up with that solution. So that you say, there's the reason, and here's my solution. Panic causes, here's the excuse, and here's my story. And nothing good follows that. Nothing. It's where people look at you and you say, all right, so yeah, something bad happened. So what's going to happen now? Is my money lost? Do you have a plan? They want to hear a solution, even if it's just you. Never panic in those moments. I look back and I'm so thankful that I found the ability to not panic in some moments in my life. Like when I think back at that moment where I was, robbed at knife point. I mean, these were just two punk ass kids that were wanting to get some money from a Pizza Hut safe. Couldn't get in the safe. Probably could have freaked out. We probably could have gotten in a fight. Who knows? Maybe they would have stabbed me. Maybe I would have stabbed them. Maybe they would have died. Maybe I would have died. Maybe one of us just gotten injured. What ended up happening was nothing. They stole $27 from a cash register, stole my cell phone, and walked out the door. Now I have a story I can tell, and I'm grateful for not panicking in that moment. I'm grateful for the times that me and Cassie had every reason in the world to panic as entrepreneurs that we weren't going to be able to succeed. But instead of doing that, we slowed down, we compressed time, and we said, hold on. There's a reason why we're here. Let's come up with a solution on how we get out of here. And sometimes those solutions took years upon years to actually take place. But that allowed us to survive. So never panic. It's not worth it. Let's go back through them again. 1 through 22. Number 1, sleep is imperative. Number 2, wake up at the same time every morning. Even Saturday and Sunday, baby. Number 3, create a morning routine, whatever it is, from the time you get up, to get out of bed, to the time you shower, to the time you shit and shave, whatever it is, make sure it's the same thing every single morning. Number 4, give yourself options for flexibility inside of that morning routine. For example, I listen to Audible, Spotify podcasts. I don't say mandatory. I've got to listen to my motivational book today from 7:30 to 8. Sometimes I wake up and I'm like, man, I got to listen to The Sign by Ace of Base. And follow that up with Ice Ice Baby and You Can't Touch This and Kiss from a Rose by Seal. Sometimes it's just I got to listen to the Browning and Dropout Kings. You never know. Number 5, plan your day in blocks. Number 6, when you're planning your day in blocks, schedule the not fun stuff first. For example, for me, it's the cash flow report, paying bills, Zoom calls, meetings, things like that. Number 7, schedule time for nothing. This is where you have your self-talk. You think, you decompress. Number 8, create daily goals, not long-term goals, and make sure the goals have a purpose. Number 9, have an environment created for comfort and success. You see mine right here. Number 10, be on time. That one doesn't need any explanation, but more often than not, you probably suck at it. Number 11, prepare to succeed. Preparation should be where you gain the confidence to actually succeed. Number 12, obsessively talk about your goals and actions with excitement. The excitement will wear off on the other people, and they'll get excited about you hitting your goals too. Number 13, high-intensity spurts of action. 2 hours on, 30 minutes off. 2 hours on, 30 minutes off. Boom, baby. High intensity, no distractions. Everything else can fuck off. I've got a purpose. High-intensity decompression sessions. Right after those high-intensity spurts of action, high-intensity decompress. That's your 30 minutes off. Machine-like habits on what works. Figure out what's working for you and repeat it like a machine. Self-accountability to ignore everything else. You better have the ability to say no to Facebook and Instagram and TikTok and YouTube and the distractions and the text messages and everything else. Specifically during those high-intensity spurts of actions inside of your time blocks. Embrace chaos for the right reasons. Chaos is an opportunity for you to sit down and figure out how you're going to solve it, because those chaos moments are normally where great results come from. Track your results, pivot in small increments, express gratitude consistently and daily, say no unapologetically, and never panic. Those are my 22 elements of productivity. I promise you, if you write those 22 things down and you start living by those, you will be more consistent this year. You will close more deals this year. And you notice I never talk about it because it's just not the priority, but you will also make more money this year. Do you guys have any questions about what we talked about today? I'll let you know while I wait to see if you guys have any questions. What's coming for you now, after the past 2 Tuesday lives, is we're about to really start talking about focusing your habits, right? Tomorrow, we're going to have our live with PropStream. We're going to be talking about what lists we're pulling in 2024, making sure that if you have PropStream, you understand how to appropriately utilize PropStream for your business when it comes to pulling lists, right? We're going to get super granular on that action utilizing PropStream. And then next month, we'll move on to another action inside of PropStream. Burton will be on the call with me. I'm excited about that. It looks like, hey, you guys don't have any questions about this. So I'm expecting the productivity level for you guys to be super high, because this is the time for us to have this conversation about where you're struggling with your productivity right now. I'm saying, like, hey, let's talk about it. If you've got a question, drop it now. Because otherwise, I'm considering it like this topic is done. If you got a question, I'm just going to push you back here and I'm going to say, I gave you 22 elements. How big are your time blocks? Thank you, Robert. There we go. So, Robert, that's going to depend upon the action, right? So, like, case in point, if I'm doing a podcast, all my podcasts are scheduled for 8 a.m. Central. I give myself an hour for that time block. When I'm talking to sellers, I give myself 2-hour time blocks. Okay. I say, all right, I'm going to call for 10 to 12. So then my decompress session is 25% of that, which is 30 minutes. Okay. On cash flow report, a completely different type of action, but it has to be time blocked. I give myself a 2-hour time block for that. And then I give myself like the rest of the day to decompress after that one, because it's normally the end of the week. So I normally go 1:30 to 3:30, and then after that, it's kind of like decompress with the team. But those are just some examples. But I would say majority of the time, I keep the time blocks to like an hour or 2-hour time blocks. I really don't like time blocking stuff off for 30 minutes. Main reason why is because more often than not, I feel like that doesn't give me enough time to succeed and like excel in the time block, unless it's just a really small action. Nick says, how do you decide what is the most important thing to work on when you go into intense work mode? Well, that should be time blocked out prior to you getting into that high intensity action, right? So when I say like high intensity, I mean, as much as I hate it, I mean, it's high intensity when I do the cash flow report. I mean, so much so, like, my team thinks that, like, I hate doing the cash flow report. It's not that I hate doing the cash flow report. It's that it's high intensity. I'm all in on just that. See, they think that it's okay because I'm silent and it's me in here and I'm looking at spreadsheets and I'm looking at, hey, this is what's going on here. Hey, we've got a 30-year amortization on this property over here. Should we pay the minimum mortgage payment, or could we invest $2,000 more on this principal? And what does that do to our equity on this property? And if we do that time and time again, could we eventually pull out a HELOC on this? These are the decisions that I'm making when I'm doing the quote unquote cash flow report. They think that it makes me upset. It's not that. They don't think I ever get upset when I'm on the phone with sellers because I'm on the phone, so they know they can't bother me, right? So high intensity spurts of action is on anything that I'm doing. It's high intensity when I'm doing a podcast, when I'm doing this live. See, they didn't bother me when I'm doing this live, right? So it's always time blocked out. And any action that I'm doing that's not a part of the decompression is high intensity. Jake Tiffany says, cold calling on batch leads, getting nowhere, either bad data or no one answering, have been cold calling for a few hours a day. So again, this is where, Jake, track your results. How many dials are you making? What data did you pull, right? It's not bad data. I promise you that. Okay, it's not bad data. All right, get that out of your head. Okay. Might be the wrong list. Might be the wrong time you're calling. You might have bad phone numbers. Maybe that's why no one's answering. But it's not bad data. Okay. The data that they get is the data. It's the phone number. Okay. So what we need to figure out there is when we're talking about track your results, are we consistently dialing the same amount and in the same times on the same days every single week? How long have you done that? When are people answering? What are they saying when they are? And then what are some small pivots, small incremental pivots that we can make? So for example, when I was doing the 50-day challenge, I was doing 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. And I chunked those into my time blocks. Now, if I had started that and I realized no one ever answered the phone from 10 to 11, but then everyone when that was answering from 5 to 6, a small incremental change would be, let's start at 11 And then let's extend from 5 to 6 to 6 to 7. And let's see if that incremental change in time changes my results. Those are the type of incremental changes I want to see you make based off of the results that you're tracking. Robert says, do you follow the thought that you work on the longest or hardest thing first while you have the most energy? So that's an interesting question, Robert. I do like to get the ugly stuff that I don't like done normally first. Like, for example, if I've got like an amazing meal in front of me, like steak, and then like mashed potatoes and broccoli, I'm going to eat the broccoli first. And then it's like, okay, I did it. Now we're going to enjoy the steak and mashed potatoes. Like, I got the shitty stuff out of the way. So I probably say I do the hard stuff first. You should always schedule the hard stuff first, right? That's number 6. Schedule the not fun stuff first. For that FSBO deal you did, what was your main things you looked at to ensure it was a deal? Comps? Yeah, I mean, it was a shitty looking house, and then I comped it real quick. I think I broke that down on that live. What CRM do you use? Monday. Do you buy data outside of prop or batch? Funny enough, I've never bought data from PropStream. Tomorrow will be the first time I do it. That's why we're bringing PropStream in. We've always used PropStream for just comping. So tomorrow, well, actually, I guess we bought data from PropStream like in 2017 or 2018 or something. But all of our data has come from batch, but no, we don't buy it outside of that. PPL. Because I am not a marketing agency. I don't know how to do pay-per-click. I don't want to hire a marketing agency when I can just have the most highly successful marketing agencies running those ads for me and just selling them to me per lead. Finding the right work environment, setting up to support productivity is super key. Absolutely. I know so many people that struggle with this that are working from home and they struggle with, being distracted, kids, other family members not supporting their goals and stuff like that. Like, dude, finding an environment for you to succeed is massively important for your success. Jeremy wants to know if I hire people to shine the belts. Absolutely. Yeah, honestly, it's kind of like driving the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. It is a highly sought after position. It requires a bachelor's degree to shine the belts. You have to have a bachelor's degree in human relations. And I honestly only like less than 1% of people that have applied for the shining of the belts have been hired. So yeah, it's highly sought after. If you don't know what I'm talking about, look up the Oscar Mayer Wienermobile. They're currently hiring. They're looking for 12 college graduates. Did you ever assign that FSBO deal you found on the live? I believe so. I'm not going to lie. I don't know what deals we have assigned right now, and we don't. I know we closed the deal in Michigan today. That might have been it. Outside of that, I don't know because I've been so disconnected from the wholesaling and been focused on some other things that we've been working on with Titanium University. So I actually don't know the answer to that. But I believe so. Do you ever go out in your local market and do deals with local flippers or out of state now? Yeah, we do deals inside of Texas. Out of the 125 contracts that we got in the 50-day challenge, 17 of them were in Texas. I think we've got a couple of deals in Texas right now as well. Let's see. PPL plus a special lift for a highly skilled acquisition person. Could an individual do $1 million in revenue? Oh man, I don't think so. I mean, I think an individual acquisitions persons could do $1 million in revenue as long as they have someone supporting them with transaction coordination, and then someone supporting them on the dispositions. I mean, I think if you look back at everything that I did during the 50 days, I don't know, man. You'd be really stressing yourself to be able to do that. And I mean, maybe you could if you did like only West Coast deals, right, with much higher assignment fees. Like if you went to Lead Zolo and you said, hey, I only want Seattle, Portland, Boise, Phoenix, Denver, places like that. You just did a lot less deals. Yeah, you probably could. What is your assignment rate? I don't know what you mean by assignment rate, so I'll just give random answers to it. Our average assignment fee is just south of 15,000. In our acquisition, well, I say that. If I narrow it down to more recently, I think we're closer to 17,000. But over last year, we're just south of 15,000. In our contract to close ratio, is just south of 70%. I think we're like 69 something percent. What about that list of properties they were trying to get the buyer in St. Louis, actually, from the free video that was aggressive? Yeah, I didn't hear back from him. It didn't work out. I sent it to him. I don't know if he just thought because we were on the live or whatnot. I never really followed up with him because I didn't like the seller. If I had liked the seller and thought they were great deals and stuff, I probably would have done more work on it. But I ended up getting a deal later today. Are you doing novations or are you JVing those? So, yeah, we will do novations. But, I mean, like I said, during the 50-day challenge, I prefer to do them with someone like Eric Brewer. But Matthew Potter does quite a few novations. Cassie is going to be doing a live next week with Matthew about the benefits of being an agent investor, and part of being on the real family tree and the real brokerage is your ability to have the network of realtors in different locations. So you could do things like novations. So she'll be talking about that as well. Do you usually stay away from certain markets if it's too much? No, we don't stay away from anything. All right. Well, guys, I appreciate everyone tuning in. Funny enough, more people showed up once I stopped talking about the topic. So I hope you guys enjoyed today's topic. I think, like Nick said when we were coming up with it, this has been a hot topic in some of the coaching calls that we've had, some of the sales calls that we've had for the different education programs that we have, where it's like, man, I'm really struggling with time blocking. I'm struggling with, finding the ability to ignore the world of distractions out there. And it all goes back to your ability to say no, just like closers formula. Can we watch the replay? Yeah, man. Just go to YouTube. Just go to my YouTube channel. It's right there. It's called My 22 Elements of Productivity. Go watch it there. I appreciate you guys. Listen, we're coming right back. We've got 20 and a half hours. We'll be 20 and a half. 22 and a half hours. There's the math, RJ. 22 and a half hours. We'll be back with PropStream. My first ever live on YouTube with PropStream. Super excited about our partnership there. We know a lot of you guys are using PropStream, so we want to make sure we're showing you the appropriate ways to do and use PropStream. Tomorrow, we'll be talking about pulling lists, making sure you have the appropriate data. We will see you guys then at 2:22 p.m. And don't forget, we'll have a new podcast release tomorrow morning at 8 a.m. Central. So not only are you getting one video, you're getting two. Is it better than batch leads? They're the same thing. If you've already got batch, just keep using batch. See you guys tomorrow.